Hello, guys. Good morning. It is High Priestess Jamila. I am going to give you guys a couple of minutes to get in here. And I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things today. I am coming at you from the darkness because, yeah, I can't get on camera at the moment. But I wanted to talk to you guys about new services that I'm offering. And then also we'll talk a little bit about the narc. In particular, narc parents. Okay, so welcome. If you guys are new here, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And if you need a private reading or a consultation for spiritual services, the link to my website is below. I do have a very exciting, well, I've kind of been offering it, but I am offering a womb healing ritual, and it is up on the website. Um, so our womb can hold like all sorts of energy, energy from when we were in our mother's womb. Okay, going all the way back to that. Energy from, traumatic experiences, in particular, traumatic sexual experiences, miscarriage, abortion, um, toxic, toxic energy from a toxic sperm can be held within the womb area, um, as well as toxic energy from man-made feminine hygiene products can sort of stay in there. Okay. And so there's a reason why there's, so much uterine cancer and fibroids, because of all of the energy, the restrictive, oppressive energy of the womb. I'm sorry, not of the womb, but the oppressive energy of things outside of the womb is causing the womb to react in it's causing the womb to act in a restrictive manner. So that's why a lot of you women are either not having periods, having scanty periods, having heavy, heavy, heavy periods that are way too heavy. Um, Hormonal problems, really bad PMS, irritability, irrational thinking. There's things that you're holding within that area that needs to be cleared out. So I am offering womb healing services, okay? Um, in particular to women, I don't discriminate against doing services for men, just to let you guys know. Um, yes, hey Jamie. Hello. Um, Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate a thumbs up, guys. Thank you. So yeah, you know how like when newborn babies are born and girls will have certain things, you know, and boys, it's like little babies are still carrying their mother's hormones, and and so obviously the hormonal stuff changes, once the baby, is separated from the womb, but you're still very close to your mother, and if the mother is allowing any kind of sexual trauma, or this is a big one, when you come from a mother that feels some type of way about her womb because of religion. If you guys remember the movie Carrie, you remember how the mother was just so messed up on that religion stuff, and she carried Carrie in her womb. Even though Carrie had these supernatural powers, at the end of the movie, Carrie was destroyed by her mother's, will or her mother's womb. She was destroyed at the end. Okay. So I think that this is very symbolic of what happens, because I believe that narcissism was created by religions. If we all existed as our own individual gods and goddesses, then there would be no reason for us to want to rule over other people. And then that energy would not be there. I am of an opinion that our diet, not even alcohol, is nearly as toxic to the body as negative energy coming from each other. So I'm a true believer in negative frequencies, and so one other thing would be abortion or even adoption, and miscarriage. But I bring up adoption too because adoption is a great alternative because of the way that the world is set up to be against women and to automatically put women in a weaker position in life. You know what I'm saying? In general. So adoption also, if you give birth to a baby and you give the child away, that is it's actually womb abandonment. It creates a lot of emotional abandonment issues within the mother and the child. So even if you are a child that was not raised by your parents, you still are experiencing um, abandonment issues. So especially if you are a girl, because for a very long time, when people had babies, they just get so excited about finding out that it's a little girl because, you get to dress up little girls in dresses and, they just so pretty. And little girls is a blessing because, that lets you know that, there's more blessings to come since women and girls, we represent life. It's not to say that boys don't, but they represent life in a different way. Okay. So as women, we're carrying around all of these, energies and spirits in our womb that we need to clear out. And so I am offering this service again. I had started offering it years ago, and then I realized that I had to do a lot of hex breaking. A lot of hex breaking. I've done so much hex breaking for people. I still do hex breakers. I will never get to the point in my, not in my career or in my spiritual journey where I feel that I'm too good for people that believe that they're hexed. Because if someone believes that they are hexed, then you have to remove the hex because the hex itself is the belief that they are hexed. Okay, you know how I got over anxiety? I got over anxiety, but not by not fearing an anxiety attack. So that was one of the ways that I got over it. And people that have anxiety act in different ways. Most of your enemies are anxiety. They have anxiety. um, so sorry guys, my allergies are kind of messing with me today. And with all of these viruses and stuff going around the world, I kind of find that, my throat gets affected or I'll start coughing or whatever. Negative womb energy that you're carrying from old sperm. Okay, old sperm from your old partners, you um especially if you had a baby with that partner. Okay. So what happens is that this sperm attaches as a cord. This is the reason why these dark entities are so quick to procreate and then abandon the child. I would be very concerned about a man that abandons his child because I have seen good fathers. And I've seen good fathers that would never apply any kind of physical pain to their kids or emotional pain. They just wouldn't do it, And so when you see a man that just, he has no problem with, just because It's there is a such thing as father instincts, not just mother instincts, but fatherly instincts. And so when these particular energies are able to reproduce with you, it will form a cord, it will create the baby. And so the woman is going to hold everything in her body, all of the toxins that are going to harm the child. She's going to hold them in her body. She's not going to let them reach the child, especially if you're a pregnant, expectant mother that, really takes the time to speak to your child in your womb and you're concerned about your child. So the actual act of a woman rubbing her belly is protection. When you see a pregnant woman out in public, what is he doing? If you see a pregnant woman out in public, I gotta light his candle, y'all. I gotta get a 7-day candle for my kid. I can do cleanses for kids, guys. I'll talk to you guys about that in a minute. The mother holds those toxins as much as possible away from the child. So, you're still gonna have your father's DNA, okay? But your mother has retained a lot of the negative energy from the DNA within her body. So I think it's really important for women, once they give birth, to make sure that they, are intentionally cleansing out their womb. But I think that you need the elements. I think that you need earth, air, fire, water, and spirit to do that. Which is the reason why, womb cleansing and the cleansings, the oral cleanse. So this is very, very different from the oral cleanse. This is much more of a deeper cleanse that I'm doing for the womb only. And I would suggest, if you've had a cleanse, that you possibly follow up with it, or because, sometimes people don't necessarily, there's a lot of people that have done a very good job of clearing out their aura. I can tell those of you that do that when we have our readings with each other. So I can tell that, just by how you feel to me. And a lot of people will tell me, I'll say, well, my God, your energy feels good. And they'll say, yeah, because I did a lot of, meditating and stuff. I wanted to make sure that none of my bad energies touched you. I said, oh, you're so sweet. And, so, hey, Christina, good morning. So this is something that I do want to be a lot of the primary focus. I think that a lot of people kind of confuse the generational hexes. I think they kind of clump it all together in one. They all do different things. I always tell my clients that if you spent the first 20 or 30 or 40 or even sometimes 50 or 60, because I have clients as old as 70. Okay. And typically if you're in your 70s, I'll use 14-day candles on you, because you've been carrying that energy with you so long that it becomes harder to remove. You know how they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Well, that's the reason why older people can be a little bit, harder, to get to understand that, because, all they do is they talk about Jesus, and that's it, and some of them, and so they don't really go deeper into what Jesus actually did. Like, okay, Jesus, yes, but what did Jesus do? How did he do all these things? How did he become so powerful? How are you so, codependent on him, and why won't you learn his teachings? Because, there was a lot of rumors about what Jesus actually taught. But in my opinion, Jesus was performing miracles. He was a healer and a magi and a practitioner. But then they'll say, no, 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 no. So guys, I respect everybody's religious beliefs, but unfortunately, there are always the extreme people that go to the extreme. And, the crazy part is that, so I just want to put that out there, the energies that I work with are pretty universal. Believe what you want, to be honest with you, but there is a huge judgment around Christianity right now. And it should be, because I think that it gets people to thinking. I think that's the way that Jesus would have wanted it. Jesus is saying, question everything and follow your own intuition. Okay. So when it comes to doing the womb cleansings, it's much deeper. There will be an optional bath kit that you can get. Right now, it's only available on Etsy, but I'm going to put the bath kit on the website. So this is a kit that will include herbs, candles, because you'll be given specific instructions by me via video, and then also specific instructions by your spirits for certain, things that you're supposed to bathe in. There are a few herbs that are amazing that I can't seem to get my hands on for some reason. So I've got to dig a little bit deeper to get my hands on. I believe it's called Osha root. It's like a long branch looking thing. This is for your immune system. Okay. So, I am actually working on a womb cleansing for myself, but I've been cleansing for so long and I've actually done it for myself. I think that the important part is cutting etheric cords, and not just cutting it, but destroying it. So, for example, so let's switch to my other topic of discussion real quick, which is cutting etheric cords to, negative energies. Now, with the gen hex removers, I can't necessarily save your parents. I can only remove the contract from you. And the reason why it is so expensive is because it takes a lot of energy. So, that is the price. I do not accept payment arrangements on that. But instead, I would suggest until you are able to get the money together, just get cleanses, because the cleanses will sustain you. They're not going to get rid of the contract, but they'll at least sustain you. And you'll realize that when you start getting the cleanses, the money is no longer too much of a problem. Like the money just kind of falls at you. So I always bless my clients with prosperity because, the energy was taken from you in the first place, and I can feel it. I can feel that entity right now, you guys. It's internal, and it's something that it just, you're aware that it exists, and it is it is so negative. It's so negative. Ty, can you pass me the that lighter that's over there? Thank you, sweetie. So when you get done with spiritual war, anytime you've dealt with like spiritual warfare or spiritual war or entities or some kind of, because, what's happening is that family members are being used as biological weapons. They're your bio weapons is your family members. Okay. Their energy is going to have an effect on you. For example, and I've been talking to all kinds of clients and confirming what they've been feeling is that they have been sensing, either their mother's or their father's worries, fears, anxiety, maybe even sometimes experiencing side effects of the medications that our parents are taking. Okay. Raise your hand if you have experienced the side effects of the meds that you're not even taking, but it's what your parents are taking. Experiencing their illnesses, their nervousness, okay? And whether or not the parent intends to be a narc, they could be unintentionally as well. But the only way that your narc parent is going to change, or anybody that's a narc is going to change, is if they want to. So even practitioners cannot force them to change. That has to happen within them because it's very deep. And I believe that they want you to be able to change them, but that's not how spirit works. Okay, they have to change themselves. So sometimes you have to destroy the cord because the cord shouldn't even still be there. Why would there be a cord, between a 60-year-old woman and a 40-year-old? Why would there be a cord there? For what? They're both separate individuals that are both adults. So why would there need to be a cord? What are they going to both be sucking on a baby bottle? That makes no sense. So, when it comes to good morning, T, hello. When it comes to your narc parents, it's not just about cutting the cord, but it's also about, because they can sew the cord back up if you just cut it. You notice how when women decide I don't want no more kids, they go to the doctor and, they get the tubes cut, but they also get them burnt. So they totally destroy the tubes. Okay. So it's the same principle, because sometimes the cord can be dangerous for the child and the parent because it's a codependency. That demon is going to continue to bother the parent and the child, and then maybe even everybody else in the family. These are really, really simple, lower level demons. They're not even they're not even higher level demons. A lot of people always blame the elite. What are you talking about? These people have enough energy for themselves. You know how they say that, when a bunch of people die, this is the rich elite doing this. And, I do believe that it is upper level, maybe practitioners that are within the church, or there's all sorts of churches. There's the Church of Satan. They've got all kinds of, there's a Church of Scientology. So, anybody can be a bad person, that's a spiritualist. Christian preachers, that's what they are, spiritualists. Okay. They're all in the same thing. They claim that they're not into the occult. That is the occult. They're into the occult too. Okay. Just, let's stop being under the illusion. Okay. That's the reason why we're having so many issues with the, with the male population, is because of the illusion that has been created. So there's no need for there to be a cord. In fact, destroying the cord destroys the power and the energy that entity even has over you, which is the reason why, because for some reason spirit led me to videos where women are saying they don't want kids at all, which is your choice, because I never did understand the pressure of having kids anyway, of people putting pressure on people to have kids. There's no need to do that. And yeah, there's pressure, whether or not it's a dysfunctional environment, or what we would consider dysfunctional, or a healthy environment. When you see these very highly dysfunctional families, these are entities that are wanting the women to breed. They want those women to breed and have children. So, nobody should have to explain why they gave birth. As a mother, I'll never come and have to justify having children. I've done it before, and spirit was like, ew. I wouldn't have even responded. Why did you even respond, Jamila? So I've learned that lesson, because, you'll see women say, well, my husband died. It's like, why do you even feel that you have to explain yourself? So, we've, and I think it's important, because, those cords of attachment, so I think womb cleansings, cord cuttings, and then even because they're just reattaching the cord, these demons are very smart. What they'll do is they'll say, oh, you cut the cord? Okay. Well, I'll just visualize that it's reattached. That's how they do it. They can do it within 2 seconds. Narcs. But if the cord is all burnt and broke down and it's kind of molded and melded together, it's you know how when you weld something together, they can't mess with that no more. They gonna be like, what in the world? Wow. Unfortunately, they are gonna have to move on to another source of narcissistic supply, of course. Okay, but it's not on you anymore, is it? And people accept cord attachments. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a cord attachment that you don't necessarily have to accept. You don't. Now, I'm going to tell you that yes, you will have some discomfort. I know that one of the symptoms that I have whenever I do any kind of cord cutting, it kind of makes my stomach hurt a little bit. It gets it a little queasy, when I'm going through that process. And so that's when you want to call Archangel Raphael or Saint Raphael to heal. There's other healing deities. A lot of the deities have healing powers, that can heal you up real quick, or you can learn self-healing. That's what a lot of people have learned. And that is actually a technique that I teach in my classes. I don't just tell people how to do that publicly. That is information that you have to pay for, because the bad people, they will use that information against you. If bad people knew how to regenerate themselves very quickly, which I think that they already do know how, they've learned. But again, it's all about the connection, kind of like a telephone. Those little phones that people would have, it'd be like one end and then it'd be a string, and then you can talk from the other end. So that's how spiritual cords, energetic cords form. So, and this is extremely important when you have a vampiric spirit, a vampirically possessed person, and of course they're not benefiting from it. Other people around them that know you will say, well, God, this person isn't even doing well, and you're saying that this person is feeding off of you. So then people will be tricked. Well, the person that is the catalyst for the demon they not going to benefit. That demon takes all of that energy. It uses it to exist. It's called energy harvesting. So, and that's sad, if you're a vampire, but, or if you're working with vampires. That's why I said, now, if you're like a natural born vampire, some of y'all are hybrids, okay, kind of like Blade. A lot of these spiritual things have been introduced to us, via Hollywood. And, it's very simple minded to just say, oh, it's evil, burn it, get rid of it, kill it. Well, that same thing created your attitude about, even practitioners like myself. Because, I think that what happened was that God upgraded. When they say that Jesus ascended into heaven after 3 days, that means that he upgraded. Okay, he learned something from that experience. And then how do you know that many of us light workers are not doing the same thing? You just automatically say that it's evil when, we know the miracles that we are creating for people. Okay, and by the way, guys, I actually healed Jacob's throat problem. For some reason, I can see a male practitioner that hated Jacob so much that he didn't want to hear him, but he wanted to hear me, but he didn't want to hear my son. So he did something to his throat chakra. I removed it, but there was quite a bit of damage that was done because Jacob can definitely talk. Y'all hear him talking all the time. But there was also, other work that was done by a separate individual and the reason why this guy was able to do that is because of the father of the child's DNA. And, so, many of you that have children, especially when you're not with the father and you start having challenges with the child, this is to be expected, especially when the father feels shut out. Okay. And it's almost like I'm haunting you through the child, and so, that can, and so so pretty much, it's all about the healing and everything. And he's been getting better and better. And then also the way that I've been protecting him. So, it's best to, if you are a practitioner or whoever you are, and you have children, you have to think of the most effective way to protect them from these entities, but you cannot protect them from everything. You can't do it, and you're not supposed to, because, especially when you have a child that is a psychic medium. And so, this is the reason why, Jacob was one of the most affected by it, because, when he was in my womb, my spiritual energy had advanced within itself. And so naturally he would come out to be one of the most spiritually advanced of my children. And my other three children are not really into it, my older three. So that's very interesting that happened. Hey, what are you doing, child? Why are you doing that? Oops, sorry, baby. He knows that I'm talking about him. He's sorry, baby. Okay. So anyway, we're going to stop talking about Jacob. But if you guys need help or advice, I feel more comfortable, even though I do family protection spells for families all the time, and I work on people's children. I'm always open to teaching you how to do it. But a lot of people, they just don't have the time, or they don't know enough about, the process of, dealing with that energy, because, as you guys can see, he's been a lot more calmer because I've been removing a lot of that stuff. Okay. And, so all of this negativity can have a negative effect on your life. Many people have been taught to just ignore it. You can even tell with the way that they, deal with, they'll tell you just to ignore it. But when a spirit keeps knocking at your door, you can't necessarily ignore it. So you can tell people that, that's why I be telling people, hey, listen, especially my clients, because I have clients that do readings for me and stuff. And, that's not, don't be one of those practitioners that, because all of y'all are, possible future practitioners. And so I can tell the really good ones because, they will, some of my clients give me tricks and tips. And, I had a client the other day that gave me a very powerful visualization technique that was really powerful. And she's probably watching right now, but, don't be one of those. No, like if you, okay, that's just like if you give the advice to your clients to just ignore it, they're going to not ignore it. And they're going to come to somebody like me. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to say, hey, because they know what's up. Because if you've been taught to just turn a blind eye, turning a blind eye means you're going to ignore something that, because I'm going to be honest with you, the negative energy does seem to be a challenge for you to open up the doorway. So yeah, technically you're not cursed. You just have a lack of knowledge of self. But that lack of knowledge of self has literally, there was there was such thick, heavy black magic that was used that it created physiological changes within the chakras and within the pineal gland. So this is what the curse is. So the curse is there, but breaking it is even harder because of that particular piece of information. So, the thing of it is with my clients is that, rarely do I ever just do work, just do some work on them and never talk to them. Like I talk to my clients probably 3 times per week each. That's what I do all day, every day. That's what I do with my time, in between juggling, my family and, the the staying in the hotel for 3 months. So, you know, um, the miracle that comes is having the knowledge, because most people don't even know who they are or what their life purpose is. So I was kind of disappointed when I didn't see as many views on the life purpose readings. I was a little disappointed, and I don't understand why YouTube seems to be blocking my channel. I actually thought about chatting with one of their agents and saying, hey, why does my channel seem blocked? Why is it blocked from view? Now, I will tell you that I did lose quite a few subscribers, but I get new subscribers all the time. Having subscribers, because I'm not a YouTuber, I'm a spiritualist. So, I don't necessarily depend on a YouTube paycheck. And guys, please, if you donate to me, please don't donate to that super chat. A lot of us spiritualists, we look at that super chat as the devil. But even though I appreciate it because it lets me know that, it gives me confirmation, but, YouTube is going to take 30% of that. And I didn't know that YouTube required payment from their vloggers, but they do prefer for your channel to be monetized. I am fixing my laptop. I'm going to fix on it even more in a few minutes here. I got to clear out a couple of viruses in it, but I haven't really been able to get on the computer. I need to restore this for my other computer, but my other computer is in storage. But I've got to go in and monetize all of my videos because, yeah, I do like to get that AdSense check. For the past 3 months, I haven't really been able to do that. So, but at the end of the day, if that's how YouTube makes their money, I don't mind monetizing and everything. So I think that that's kind of why the views have went down a whole lot, is because I haven't been monetizing. If you're not monetized, you're not going to have as many views unless you have a group of people waiting for you to go live for a specific agenda, you know. But, this is more so, so I'm definitely going to open up the comments on all of the videos as well. I'm going to go in and change that because I had it set to block out the comments. Well, I'm going to open that up as well as the ratings. Okay. So we'll just, see what happens. Cause, the reason why I did that is because at the time I had to shut down a lot of that energy because I was already dealing with too much. I think I had shut down the comments sometime around July of last year. And there was a reason why I did that. So, so that I'm pretty sure that that's probably what their agents would say to me. Well, just looking at your channel, you're kind of messing up the algorithm of your channel because it isn't monetized. And non-monetized channels, they do not get as many views. When you think about it for business purposes, YouTube is going to advertise and push out there further the channels that are going to make them money. Makes sense, huh? Even if it's a couple of pennies. So if you're not monetizing all of your videos as soon as you upload them, that's going to mess your algorithm up, anyway, so that's how you keep your channel growing. It's something that I figured out years ago. So, I was thinking, my God, I've been given too much power over this fear and this paranoia, when in reality, seeing things clearly, I myself have been hurting my channel because, and so you just have to be able to think about these things and not, react or think emotionally. When you think on an emotional level, then it can affect you. But, it's, everything happens for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, the womb cleanses are available because many women need them. And they're not just cleanses, they're healings. And, and it may even help some women that are having fertility issues. Because even though we have a lot of women out there that don't want kids, that, and I'm all for your choice of and having the right of choosing never to have children. But on the other end of that spectrum, there are women that really, really want children. So we have to respect them and we can't judge them. And in fact, we celebrate them because that is growth. That's growth of our, you know, our world. That means that, the world is populating itself. If the world is not populating, that's not good, but a lot of people don't have an understanding of that. And it's okay. You don't have to do anything. There's plenty of people that are going to keep the world populated. Trust me. So a lot of people will say, well, what about, how are these people going to be gay? And, they say, oh, that's going to that's the death agenda is, gay people have children every day. People that identify themselves as being gay have children every day. So, but I don't want to bring up that argument because then people will get triggered and I don't want people to start trolling me. Okay. Let me see what y'all talking about up in here. Hello, Barbara. A big one is that bad sperm energy that's left in you. That's why um, now my water cauldron ritual is a little bit more expensive because I have to make the dolls, and it's a very powerful ritual. It really is. I had to get away from that thing last night. And did y'all see that spirit show up? A spirit showed up in the video, y'all. It was a little tiny orb. It was not a camera anomaly. Camera anomalies or dust on the lens is a perfect circle. This thing didn't have a perfect circle. It was very asymmetrical. And it was moving on its own, and it was moving faster than I was moving the camera, because I was panning the camera very slowly. That thing zipped down and flew up. So that hasn't happened to me in a while, which it lets me know that it's a transition that's happening whenever that particular spirit shows up. Because the last time that particular spirit showed up, I moved to Georgia. So, that's a sign. And so a lot of people didn't really see that video. And again, I need to monetize all of my videos and then the views will go back up. Yeah, just a tip. If you are a practitioner and you feel like you're struggling with views, just do everything that you can to monetize your channel and you'll get way more views. Okay, monetize all of your videos. Because when you upload from your phone, I don't know if it gives you the monetization option. I know that the lives that I do, they get automatically monetized. I think I'll have to go and check. But I noticed that, you have to go in and manually monetize them. Some of the videos the actual readings that I've been uploading from my phone for like the last 3 months, none of them have been monetized. which was a mistake because if they were monetized, they would have gotten more views automatically. So, that's one of the other things about the YouTube algorithm is that, they are showing the videos that are monetized first. They get more airplay because it makes sense from a business standpoint. Why would you, waste a lot of your broadcasting power to broadcast a video that's not going to make you a dime? And even if your video makes them but a dime, they want it, and they'll even give you 7 cents of it. So try to get those channels monetized. I know there was a couple of spiritualists that kind of was afraid of monetization, but that's only because they verify your identity. And if you're trying to hide your identity, or if it's something in your identity that you're ashamed of, you probably wouldn't do that. But it's not too intrusive. The YouTube monetization AdSense, I don't think it's that bad. I didn't feel spiritually taken when I did it. Like, oh my God, this is a demonic contract that I can't break. And no, most of us are on YouTube because we enjoy it. We enjoy doing YouTube. We enjoy the environment. So, I don't mind throwing YouTube some money, and saying, hey, I don't mind monetizing. And, so anyway, um, what I'd like to do is get my computer fixed. As soon as I get this Windows Defender to going, it'll remove this virus, and then I can go live and I can have some live guests come on. So all of a sudden, a virus manifested in the computer like a couple of weeks ago. And like I said, I don't feel like going out there to that storage. And, next time I go out to that storage, it'll be to move, move my stuff into my house. So, um, anyway, guys, be careful of lower level entities and spirits that are trying to give you to give up your personal items, which are your phones, your computers, your guns, anything sacred to you, your personal belongings and possessions. People that try to get you to give those things up or try to make you lose those things that, those are things that you manifested physically. And, you don't have to give those things up. Now, if it's a person, you can't hold people hostage. But your personal possessions, absolutely. Have as many Fabergé eggs as you want. You like to collect silver and china? Collect it, put it in a beautiful china cabinet. We are supposed to be abundant and blessed on this earth. And it's a trick, you know, um, even poverty is an illusion. It's all an illusion. I've seen women running around here with 7, 8, 9 kids in poverty. You have 7, 8, or 9 kids and you're dealing with poverty. You know that my grandmother in the in the 70s, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, before she passed on, she had 7 children and she never dealt with poverty. And my grandmother bought her own house. She even fed her grandchildren. My grandmother was never on any type of assistance. She retired from the post office. She was the first Black supervisor, but, you know, she also had her own business. Okay. My grandmother started her hair business. So I get a lot of people that want to do hair for a living, and they're very talented. But the one thing that I do kind of discourage is the use of a lot of chemicals. I think this is the reason why people have, because these hairdressers, boy, they create some beautiful hairstyles, especially with straight hair, with kinky hair. I also don't think that black women should be shamed for straightening their hair. Now, I think you should think twice before you just use those chemicals. But there's a lot of hairdressers that they just use heat on the hair and they know how to protect your hair. So if you're just using heat on your hair at home, all your stuff gonna break out. Using heat is not bad. It's if you're not going to a hairdresser to get that done. And so my grandmother was one of the trusted hairdressers. She had a green thumb. She would grow your hair, so long. And God knows, y'all, I sent my hair through a lot. So, my grandmother used to take care of people's crowns. And, that's a very honorable thing. So a lot of you women out there that want to do hair, you guys should really pursue that. And so we'll help you with that. I don't just guide witches and practitioners and healers, massage therapists, people that want to get into acupuncture, people that want to get into Reiki, people that want to get into all sorts of, aura readings. Reiki is where you are, you know, you're transmuting and transforming energy. You're transmitting energy to certain areas of the body with your hands. Now, for me, I would use stones. So, you guys know that I actually went to school to be a massage therapist. I wanted to work in a spa. For some reason, all of a sudden, I just was drawn. I just wanted to work in a spa. I was like, I could really do that because, I didn't like working in a building with a bunch of cubicles. I didn't like that. I did enjoy doing property management. Um, but then when the housing crisis kicked in, oh God, and boy, was it ever. The housing crisis is the, demonic breakdown of the shelter of people. You start to, create issues universally, especially for women, because, technically, I don't even want to get into that. Let's go the other way with this, okay? Because we're in the here and the now. However, there is the um the issue with women, and men, not just women, with building their own house, their own home, being able to cultivate that. And for years and years, I've been doing that, because again, you know, even if you have some sort of housing assistance, which there's a quite a large percentage of the population that is on the, housing or some sort of, assistance. Okay. And didn't say it was anything wrong with it. Again, these babies have to eat. They have to, have their milk. If you're not wanting to breastfeed, that's just like women have a choice if they want to breastfeed. Maybe you don't want to breastfeed your child and you don't have to. And no woman should have to be shamed for that because, they did create formula for children. Now, there would be people that would have a valid argument that those formulas are not the best, which they're not. I was a formula fed baby and I have hella allergies. Maybe if I would have caught some of my mother's um, antibodies, my allergies wouldn't have been bad. But, I personally feel that a child can be healthier when it comes to, their physical health and their immune system if they're getting that early mother's breast milk. And then also if you're, not, if you're delaying vaccines or either not doing them at all. Because mainly vaccines, I mean, when you think about it, you know, Why would your child need a hepatitis shot? Was the father of the child an intravenous drug user? Was the father of your child, sleeping with prostitutes? Was, you know what I'm saying? So, why would you need to have a hepatitis vaccine when you're not even exposed to any of the risks? Though, so when you think about vaccinations, if you have a healthy bodied male and a healthy bodied woman, and we're not talking about the spiritual body, because the spiritual is, it ties in with it, but I'm speaking in terms of health, and the medical field and their healing techniques, which I think that some of them are good and some of them are bad. So some doctors are actually real healers, though. When you think about it, they're actual real healers that care. So did y'all ever watch that show Dr. House? I used to love House. Not Dr. House, but it's just something about that show that just gives me a lot of joy. It was just a good show. I probably wouldn't have the mind to watch it now. Things have changed so much since then, but there's some things that remain constant. Like, I can't watch the Cosby Show anymore. I'll go and look at it and I'll go, I don't know why I was even into that. you know. And it's not that I have anything against Bill Cosby. Um, you know, I think that he probably did do something to those women that he was, wrong about, because I'm pretty sure that he probably went to a spiritualist and that spiritualist probably, went out of business because they couldn't save him from that jail time. But I'm pretty sure that Bill Cosby is being treated very well. He probably eats filet mignon and, he probably gets that good organ meat. I'm pretty sure that Bill Cosby is not eating the same thing that the other inmates are eating, because I'm pretty sure that he's being sent food from his team, probably fresh liver, you know, those good organ meats and bone broth. So he's being well taken care of up in there. Until whatever happens with him. I've been meaning to do an updated reading on Bill Cosby, but it's not going to be, is he guilty or not? It's going to be more so, how he's doing these days and just kind of checking up on him. So I've been wanting to do more celebrity readings, but, anyway, y'all know how I go off into left field. So a lot of wounds do need to be healed, and a lot of that negative energy from the past, just these men that have should have, I don't want to say they should have never been able to touch us, but their demonic attachments shouldn't have been able to touch us. So, this is one of the reasons why when a woman is pregnant and you look at the ultrasound, have y'all ever looked at a pregnant woman's ultrasound? Every time I look at a pregnant woman's ultrasound, I can see a spirit in it. Every time I see a spirit, sometimes you can see a demon show up. Sometimes you can see an angel. Sometimes you can see, you can just see them little orbs and stuff in there. And especially the live ultrasounds, you can really see, it looks like little bubbles. um, you know, and so these entities, they did encourage a lot of these babies to be created. That doesn't mean that the child cannot be reborn, because when the child is birthed, that is the beginning of the child's life. And this is when the programming begins, and it shouldn't be. the programming against self. Many women, though, cannot filter out all of that because it's such a strong force that is, been kind of inoculated, over us. And also the lack of the sisterhood, the fact that women don't stick together and they don't trust each other. You know what I'm saying? Which is bad. That's bad when, the it's not even supposed to be like that. Women are supposed to trust each other. Women used to, hey Jacretia, thank you. Thank you. I know. I was like, oh my goddess. So yeah, things are getting ready to really change and look up. Things are definitely looking up. Seriously, I'm so excited. Yes, so thank you. I am kind of claustrophobic, but I have adaptability. I'm almost like a chameleon. I can adapt to whatever situation I have to deal with at that time. And I can tell you that I do still have residual bouts of healing from that mode. It comes on every now and then. But other than that, like a lot of the coughing and just taking my spiritual baths, helps to release a lot of that. And I've been trying to get Jacob to take regular spiritual baths too. You can give your kids herbal baths, especially the ones where you put the lavender, and rosemary oils and stuff. Just put like a couple of drops of it. You don't want to put too much for kids. And there's a couple of other herbs. But you can, steep them in a bath and put the kids in it, and it does help, with their, with these symptoms. There's no such thing as autism. It's just symptoms of what's happening in the spirit. Of course, these spirits go for vulnerable children. They do. So, yeah, some of these spirits will get attached to the children and they don't never talk. Like, isn't it a miracle that Jacob talks? Remember they kept saying that Jacob can't talk? Well, we all have heard that he talked too much. Oh, hey, Hecate, Triple Moon Goddess, welcome. Yeah, those spiritual baths will help. I'm not real sure what kind of work you're doing on them, but just be patient. It'll happen. Because I know that my son has anger issues sometimes, but it's been getting better. But it comes up every now and then. Those anger issues will come up. Other than that, lately he's been in good spirits. So you may want to check the energy that's in your environment. A lot of times it could be something in your house messing with the kids. When babies get to crying and they can't stop crying and they just crying and crying and crying and crying. And yeah, that's an entity. And see, um, eventually I do want to do home visits. Well, I got to get my own home in order, which is coming. I can do a cleansing, but I can just see those spirits. If I go into your baby's nursery or where your child is sleeping, I will be able to. So that's why I like to do a lot of my readings by video, because if you guys are asking me things about your children's behavior and, you feel like entities are attacking your children, you can actually pan over the room and I'll be able to see stuff on the camera. I don't have to be there. We can do this stuff from a distance. And a lot of times y'all have to do things from a distance. I have people that come to me all the way from Australia. I just recently had a client sign up from Australia. Yes, I got Canadian clients, single clients from Singapore. So By the way, if you are someone that is out of the country, I do ship products to you. I can ship products to you, but you just have to, it'll be higher shipping rates. But I also use Skype for you guys, okay? So, all of those readings are done by Skype or either Facebook Messenger. So just add me on Facebook and then, come to my messenger for your reading. That's what I use it for. I get really, you know what though? I don't really like Messenger. I prefer Skype because too many people can interrupt, during those, even though I've been lucky enough for people to not do that, I get so frustrated when I put Messenger on my phone and I have all these men calling me back to back saying, "Hey, baby," that irritates me because I don't use Messenger to flirt with men online. I use Messenger to speak to clients and to speak to my children and to, I Facebook messenger my kids from, because they're in a different state. My kids live in a different state from me. So, that's my only way of actually seeing my grandbaby and seeing my children. So we Facebook Messenger all the time. So, listen, I appreciate the love, but I don't know. But Skype, I am on Skype as well, just to let you guys know. So, Skype is a little bit more private, I think, even though I mean, I'm going to tell you something. There are certain people that are watching everything that we're doing in social media. So, really, to be honest with you, there's literally no privacy. You know, I hate to think of it that way, but they say that they're watching us through these smart TVs, y'all. What y'all think of that? They say they watching us through those TVs and stuff. hmm So I think it's all about making sure that you can master your own energy. And okay, so if a lot of people were confused about that ritual that I did, Yemi Ya had me do that ritual. Raise your hand if you guys saw that water, that cauldron water ritual that I showed you guys. Did you guys see that? Or did YouTube not send you the notification? Because it wasn't monetized. um, if you didn't, go look at my, playlist or my list of videos. I just put it up early, like late last night. So it's one of the most recent videos that I did. That is actually a womb cleansing, okay, as well. That is one of the ways that I will be doing it. Um, but that was sort of different because very similar but different. So the your cauldron is a vessel, and it's a vessel of transformation. And when you put water in that vessel, okay, especially rainwater, but when you put water in that vessel, you create pretty much whatever your intent is within that vessel. So when you add water, herbs, or whatever it is that you're going to add to your cauldron, they may not necessarily bubble, like in, Hollywood where they show you witches with their cauldron and it's bubbling. Now, it will bubble if they put some fire under it. There's a lot of witches that practice that way. I do. I'll put fire under my, but you have to have a special thing to put it on, like, or either, something like maybe like a coil or something you can put it on, or you can put it over coals or something, which that would have to be done outside, I would think, because that would kind of be like a fire hazard. So, but I've done that before, and I've seen other practitioners do it in some of their more private workings. Okay. And so yeah, that's where you'll get those bubbles, and the smoke and the steam and the mist, but you can create that with incense too. So, and it'll create a mist, but there was a spirit flying around that thing. And I tried to edit the video to show it to y'all. My video editor started messing up. I started having all kind of electronic problems. So I think that Mercury retrograde, because we're in the pre-shadow phase of Mercury retrograde, I think that it can make your phones act kind of funny. But maybe restarting your phone. So I don't know what happened, like right after, where I'm trying to show you, you can see all sorts of faces start to show up in the smoke. And I was trying to make commentary on that too. So I'll probably have to just go live and screen share with you guys so that I'll be able to point it out to you. Um, I haven't seen anything like that in a while. I mean, you could tell that it was a spirit, but it was a good spirit because I actually asked spirit what it was. Because I always ask what something is. I don't just assume. I like to get confirmation. And spirits was like, yeah, that was one of your angels. That was one of your spirit guides. That was making the work even stronger that you were doing. Doesn't all You don't always have to. That was more of a different ritual. I had my voodoo dolls in there filled up with water, and water and intent. And so it's a cleansing process, and in the meantime, those herbs that's in there and the water, because my cauldron actually was quite, nasty, just needs to be cleaned out. And you can actually clean out your cauldrons, because if you start putting coals in there and it's burning old resins from in there, you got to clean that out. So, that's kind of the beginning aspects of me cleaning it out. But you can put water in your cauldron and certain specific herbs, and you can scribe with your cauldron. You can do a lot with your cauldron, and so Yemi Ya actually, I think that deity, like as a deity, Yemi Ya, like, because I believe that all the deities at some point, they existed in a human body, so they've had the human experience at some point, whether or not they started out that way or if they just chose to inhabit a physical body. And so Yemi Ya, she does water magic a lot. And so she guided me towards using my cauldron and actually filling it up with water, because typically I just put fire in it. But she's like, why do you use fire so much? Why don't you ever use water? It's just as powerful, if not more powerful. So that's just how that came. A lot of my rituals I get directly from my spirits. It just comes to me and I just do it. Even when I do work for you guys, sometimes I'll do just something that is kind of totally different from what I normally do. But that's just how spirits guided me to do that ritual for you. So, um, anyway, you definitely want to do those womb cleansings, because what if had some sort of ties or etheric cord to a draconian or an evil reptilian or a vampire or a succubus. Succubus energy, it connects to the womb energy. It connects to the sexual organs also the head, because do you know that there's some people that conjure succubuses as lovers? It's so weird. Like, I couldn't even imagine. Because if I conjured a succubus or a vampiric lover, that thing is gonna it's gonna try to drain me, you know. So anyway, guys, that's my cue. I need to return a phone call real quick. I'm gonna get off of here because I gotta do some things. I gotta work on the computer. And then I also got some readings to do. So I will talk to you guys later. If you guys are interested in consulting with me about the womb cleansing, and it's best for me to read you first. I do every now and then have people that just go to the website and place orders. I do not stop that. I do not send money back and say, oh, well, I got to send this money back to you because, you didn't get a consultation first. But it's best to consult with me first. Now, there are some rituals that you don't have to have a consultation on. That's just like the Valentine's Day ritual that I'm doing. Just because I've been fussing about patriarchy does not mean that I'm not trying to fall in love and be in love and find love. So we're still on that. So that is a ritual where you don't have to consult with me. If it says it on the website that you don't need a consultation, feel free to just purchase it, okay? But if you are interested in that, as well as, cord cutting energy and clearing yourself and unblocking, I also do have a couple of rituals on there and a couple of options, because you don't always have to it's not always about the generational hex remover. There's a ritual on there that I offer that, will help you, manifest your power fully, and it will help increase, your power, and it will help increase you. Okay. And unblock you, unlock all of your, because to be honest with you, if they calcified your pineal gland, and that was the one that they purposely calcified with a lot of negative energy and a lot of negative information, then they're able to do that to the rest of your chakras, which is the reason why a lot of people can't manifest longevity. And you see people out there that are in their 60s and 70s, and they eat high animal, even people in other countries, that in the United States, the lifespan is not as long as it is in other countries and other parts of the world that we don't even see all the time. So, there's a lot of herbs that I use for longevity as well. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go. The link to my website is below. I do accept Cashapp payments. I do readings from 10 a.m. Eastern all the way up to 10 p.m. Eastern. I don't just do stuff at night. I am open during the day. Okay, early morning. Okay. All right, guys, I got to call somebody back. I will see you guys later. Love and light. I'm so happy that you guys were here. Um, have a happy Friday, and I'll talk to you guys later. Okay. Love and light.